Welcome to all of our BPTV fans, YouTube fans, and new fans that may be watching this latest by request by Al Levine, the talking machine, and Jessica Lee, the jazz singer. We've been doing this for over 4 months now. Great feedback. So we're just so happy to be presenting another by request today. Let's find out from Jess what great songs she's been requested to do today.
Hey Al, first of all, it's great to see you and it's great to be seen. We had some great songs requested because of the messages. And before I get into that, the messages of the lyrics, let's see what you're drinking.
Okay, I got my one of my all-time favorites, China Gunpowder.
That's a
Sip by
green,
sip for
that's
a
a
better
green
health.
tea, Al, for
Yes,
those who don't know, China gunpowder. And so
yes. It's
it's
a loose leaf green tea,
all
and
right, health.
it's very tasty.
No, it's a little early today for me, so I'm still drinking a little bit of coffee. This is Java, and this is a
I like
little
that cup. I like
this
the
is a
cup.
little Carnegie Mellon Entertainment Technology Center mug.
That's a nice mug. It looks like it's a gallon of coffee in there.
To your health.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yes, cheers. So let's go right into it, Al. We are filming this show on the 1 year anniversary of the announcement of the pandemic in the
Yes,
United States. And you and I know that all the musicians and the dancers and actors and everybody in the live performance business was out there performing. And then the 11th of March, 2020, we got the word we are in a pandemic and we're going to have to lock it down. So happy 1 year anniversary. We have survived. And
yes.
the messages of the songs that were requested today have to do with how people have been dealing with this last year, this pandemic year, and some of the lyrics tug at my heartstrings. So the first one I want to tell you about is a longtime favorite song of mine, and was introduced to me, this particular song, Al, by my oldest jazz mentor.
Wow,
Yeah, and
that's
so
great.
Tony Janflone Sr., a wonderful guitarist, a musician, was one of my early mentors. He's in his 80s now and
Wow, that's great.
still teaching as he can. He's been slow during the pandemic because
Sure.
everybody's gone virtual. But this is a song called A Song for You. And A Song for You was written by the late, great Leon Russell. We're going to talk about that more. But the lyric, Al, for the pandemic, we know that so many people have been fighting losing loved ones during the pandemic.
Yes.
They've been fighting maybe the coronavirus or other issues, health issues themselves, job loss, etc. So it's been a very tough time. Now, this lyric says it's really about unconditional love. Really a wonderful lyric for unconditional. And you're going to say agape,
Agape. Agape.
agape
No
love.
strings attached, right?
Yeah. And one of my favorite lines is, with Tony Jamplone Sr., when I began really studying music with him, we would study together every Sunday night for years and years and years, for hours, going late into the night, starting in the evening and going late into the night. And this lyric says, "And when my life is over, remember when we were together. We were alone, and I was singing this song for you."
Yes.
And it is just such a don't take people for granted. Thank your mentors while you can, and those who have helped you in your life. So before we go to this song, A Song for You, Al, who's been instrumental when you think back in your life, a bit of a mentor to you, even if they didn't know it?
Well, I have an interesting story. My dad had lots of friends in the sports world, and a good neighbor of ours lived about thirty houses away. His name was Bill Wallace. He was a sports guy, very smart engineer type guy. I don't even know what type of engineer. And he had four great kids that I was friends with. So we interacted as families. And when I was playing football in my sophomore year, He goes, "Hey, Saul, can I come over and give Alan some tips on playing center?" And my dad said, "Sure." We're at the kitchen table. My dad and Bill are swapping sports stories. Then he goes, "It's time for me to help Alan." And he kept, one of the things he taught me is always stay low as a lineman. And that was such a great tip. And he said, just keep working out and get stronger and you'll get better. And he goes, "We'll talk during the season." The next 3 years, he mentored me, and I was ended up supposed to play small college football at Juniata College and be an architectural engineer. So he was one of the mentors of my young life.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, Al, let's go to the song. I know that a lot of people have decided that the lyric has touched their hearts as singers and have performed this. Many people. But
Sure.
I want to send this out, especially to my jazz mentor Tony Jamflone Sr., the father of the great Tony Jamflone Jr., who's also a
Yes.
singer and a guitarist. But I want to send this out, dedicate this especially to him for everything he did for me as a, music coach and also coaching me about life. And this was requested by several people during the pandemic, Al,
Okay.
because of the lyrics. So let's hear it.
Let's listen right now.
Everyone, this is Jessica Lee by request. The song requested is A Song for You by Leon Russell. A wonderful lyric, A Song for You by Leon Russell. Requested by a very, very special friend. I've been so many places in my life and time. Sung a lot of songs, made some bad rhymes. I've acted out my life on stages with 10,000 people watching. But we're alone now, and I'm singing this song for you. I know your image of me is what I hope to be. I've treated you unkindly, darling, can't you see? There's no one more important to me. Baby, can't you see through me? We're alone now, and I'm singing this song for you. You taught me precious secrets of a true love, withholding nothing. You came out in front when I was hiding. And now I'm so much better. But if my words don't come together, listen to the melody. 'Cause my love is in the hiding. I love you in a place where there's no space or time. I love you for my life. You're a friend of mine. And when my life is over, remember when we were together, we were alone, and I was singing a song for you. We were
Jessica Lee, that's a beautiful, heartfelt song. And like you said, so apropos for mentors and what we've gone through for 1 year. And it struck me right in the heart when you posted it on Facebook and to listen again. Beautiful singing, beautiful playing. I love the notes at the end, of course. I appreciate that. And it just means so much because I have great memories when it came out in 1970 by Leon Russell, and his singing, his voice, and his piano playing just struck, no pun intended, a chord with me. So, and I'm not a huge music guy. I love music, but I was more into sports.
Yeah, Al, for me, Tony, as I said, Tony Jamplin Sr., my jazz mentor, had introduced me to this song. He would have me listen to so many different artists while we studied together, and Donny Hathaway,
Yes.
Donny, Donny Hathaway. If people look him up, if you haven't heard of him before, he was the great singer and pianist who was the music director and piano player for Roberta Flack.
Yes.
And he sang a lot of duets with her. And he died very young. He died at 33. But his version was the one that inspired me to say, oh, I need to sing that song. His version is also very heartfelt, and wow, he was a gifted artist. I know that when he died at 33 years old at such a young age, Roberta Flack, she stopped performing for some time until she could kind of get over that heartache. So what did you learn about the song?
Well, in my history, I heard Donny Hathaway sing, and you had talked about him many times, but I never heard him sing that song. And like you say, what an inspiration, definitely. But we'll go back to 1970 when Leon Russell recorded and sang this song. And over 200 artists have performed this song, and they lost track after that. So it's a very popular American standard. Elton John called it an American classic. And that's from a legend talking about a song like that. And I thought that was so cool. And then Andy Williams' version peaked at number 29 on the adult contemporary and number 82 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1971. And then Ray Charles, here's a story that's great because we all know Ray Charles. He recorded a version that earned him the 1994 Grammy Award for Best Male R&B Vocal Performance on January 17, 2018.
Wow, that's really pretty recent.
Yes, and it was added to the Grammy Hall of Fame just recently too. So I mean, and it was just great with what he sang, and I listened to that version because this piqued my interest there. And you're right, this song is just amazing. What a great song to inspire you by your mentor. Just fantastic.
Yeah. And Donny Hathaway, a lot of people say he inspired Stevie Wonder and helped to shape Stevie Wonder's sound and art. So that's interesting. And then the late great Ray Charles is one of my huge influences. I mean, that man, he was such an artist. I mean, with what he did with the piano and his voice, and just very authentic. He sang from his heart.
And that was so nice in my research because you've talked about Ray Charles ever since I've met you, and you've sang his songs. So I appreciate that. So I'm glad I could dig deep and share that with what he won, at the time, those awards.
Yeah, and we're talking about mentors, Al, and influences, and Ray Charles was influenced by someone. Do you know who he might have been influenced by? A gentleman with a velvet voice, Nat King Cole.
You're kidding.
So when Ray Charles first went into the recording studios, he was singing like very smoothly.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, Ray, there already is a Nat King Cole. You've got to be yourself. You can't, he loved Nat King Cole. So it's interesting how we all are influenced by and mentored by others who went before us. We stand on their shoulders if we learn from them and reach new heights, hopefully, collaboratively with our mentors' help.
Very true. Very true, Jess. I feel like I've lived 5 or 6 lives because at different stages in my life, people pop up. God puts them in our path. and they've helped me with many things from my union career to my sports career to life in general and business. And it's just amazing when you think back. So you got me thinking of that. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, Al. And, you know, I think that there are certain songs that are appropriate for certain times in society. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And before I move on to the next song request, did you have anything else you wanted to share about A Song for You by Leon Russell?
No, that's about all I was going to cover on that. So,
Okay, okay.
yes.
So yeah, let's move on. As we know, the last year has been it's been difficult, it's been tumultuous in certain ways. Not
Yes.
only the coronavirus pandemic, but there's been a lot going on in society, discussions about race and racism. And, you know, the next song that I want to just talk about briefly that was requested, you and I can understand why it was requested with everything in the news this past year. And it's Paul
Yes.
McCartney's song. He wrote this, Paul McCartney, Ebony and Ivory. And, you know, I love this because he just looks at the piano and says, side by side on my piano keyboard, you know, here's the black and white keys and they live in perfect harmony. Why can't we? Why can't we
Right.
live in perfect harmony? You know, and then I personally, you know me, I don't eat any animals, you know that, and I'm like, why can't we just live in harmony, right, with all living things, right? And
Sure.
why can't we try to help, and if we can't help, at least do no harm? Why can't that be our goal? We won't always meet it, but the things that seem simple, Al, are often very difficult. They're not as simple as they seem. But this song, Ebony and Ivory, has a great lyric for today. This was requested by multiple people
Sure.
from multiple races, which I think is interesting, not just, you know, white or black. And so I got a lot of requests for this particular lyric and message. And then the other song that I had multiple requests for was a song called The Rose. And The Rose talks about, you know, we're talking about living in harmony and having that sense of, again, unconditional love, agape love for our brothers and sisters, all living things and beings. And this is a perfect song for today too, because everybody's been through a long year and a long winter, at least where it's cold in the Northeast.
Yes.
And as we look towards spring, you know, this song says, come on, everybody, hold on a little longer. It's been a rough year, but it's going to get warmer, brighter, and healthier. A lot of people are getting their vaccines, for example, during the pandemic out. And, you know, this particular song encourages us to be patient and plant our seeds of love and plant our seeds for good things to come in the future, and understand that that seed might be underneath some bitter snow right now, but in a little bit of time, hold on, that sunshine's going to come and the rose will bloom. And so keep doing what you're doing today to stay positive, to hold on for a little bit longer. If you feel blue, if you feel a little bit out of sorts, better days are coming. And so I put these together into one song, a bit of a medley, and connected them via the music, the piano music that I was making up and improvising going along there, and trying to honor a couple of requests at once. So what do you think about the lyric, Al, before we go and take a listen to the song?
I think it's a great message. And again, you picked the song for these times where a lot of people are struggling and aren't sharing that. So this can give you that hope to just I just want a little peek in their window to see what's going on so I can help them. And I know you want to do the same thing. And it's been a struggle with a lot of people, and it's just a shame. But we did survive this far, and it's going to get better as it is each day. So why don't we just listen to this great medley that you came up with, and we'll talk on the backside right now.
Hey everybody, this is Jessica Lee, back to do 2 songs by request. The first song has a message for all of us people from the piano, and the second song has a message through its lyric of springtime, telling us to hold on. Things are going to get warmer and better and brighter and more joyful. And so I'm honoring 2 requests in one medley by putting the songs together and connecting them through the piano. Ebony and ivory live together in perfect harmony, side by side on my piano keyboard. Oh Lord, why don't we? We all know that people are the same wherever you go. There is good and bad in everyone. We learn to live as we learn to give each other what we need to survive. Together alive, ebony and ivory live together in perfect harmony, side by side on my piano keyboard. Oh Lord, what for me? Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leads your soul to bleed. Some say love is hunger, and endless aching need. I say love, it is a flower, and you, it's a seed. It's the heart afraid of breaking, that never learns to dance. It's the dream afraid of waking, never takes the chance. It's the one who won't be taken, who cannot seem to give, and the soul afraid of dying, that never learns to live. When the night has been too lonely and the road has been too long, beneath the bitter snow lies the sea that with the sun's love in the spring becomes a rose.
You did it again. You got 3 songs on the show. You made a medley out of these 2 amazing songs. Just listening to how you meshed it, it's beyond my comprehension, seriously. And it sounded great. Your piano playing was way off the charts for me. So thank you so much for that again. One thing I'm happy about the pandemic is getting to hear the great jazz singer Jessica Lee play piano. So I appreciate it.
Hey, Al, thank you. There's silver linings in this difficulty, silver linings in these crazy times, right? So
Yes.
we're talking about the difficult issues of racism and why we're not being tolerant and kind to each other, even when we disagree. We're talking about that now. That's a silver lining of the last year. Certain issues have been brought to the forefront, and we're aware of them,
Yes.
and we're talking about them. I think that there's silver linings, when you have to do something out. Like, I'm used to playing with a lot of the most wonderful jazz musicians around this region.
Yes.
So I wouldn't play the piano if I could have Mark Strickland play guitar and some others, But sometimes during the pandemic, there wasn't an option. So the piano and I got to be better friends, as you know. So there's a silver lining in certain things. You find a different voice, maybe. And tell us about these songs. What did you learn?
1982. Paul McCartney was in his farm in Scotland, and he wrote this song because he saw the black and white keys, like you described, playing in harmony. Why can't people? So that was his theme of his song. And they recorded it in a studio there in London. That the famous George Martin, he was actually called the 5th Beatle. He produced all these albums, which I didn't know that. I found that out. I had heard his name, but didn't realize he was the 5th Beatle. And look at the success they had. And they had started it February 27th and March 2nd, 1980. And due to conflicts, he had trouble getting Stevie Wonder to produce this song. So they did it by separate videos, and they combined it, which that shocked me because I'm thinking, I'm doing a Zoom, Jess is doing a Zoom, and we're producing this TV show. So that tied in even more so than what you were saying. And that was just so cool. And let me see here with... this was the first time that Paul had ever done a duet since he left the Beatles. And look, he did it with Stevie Wonder.
Right. And two wonderful musicians and artists.
Oh, yeah. And especially doing it with another major star. And then what happened, this single spent 7 weeks on the #1 Billboard Hot 100 in the US, and was the 4th biggest hit in 1982. And this was the first time any Beatles song was on the Billboard, chart, R&B chart, and it was Paul's 28th #1 hit song.
Wow.
It was the longest of Paul's post-Beatle hits, and the second longest after Hey Jude. So this was right after Hey Jude being a huge hit. So I was just digging deep, and that stuff impressed me. Now for Stevie Wonder, listen to this. It was his longest chart-topping hit and made him the first solo artist to achieve the #1 single in the US over 3 consecutive decades. And, they also hit, in Europe again, and South Africa banned the song because Stevie Wonder dedicated his 1984 Academy Award for Best Original Song to Nelson Mandela, and this was during apartheid, which there was a lot of problems with that and race relations. So how about that? The song was #1 and got banned in South Africa.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that means it struck a chord. They
True.
were paying attention.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I think that it's interesting sometimes, again, Al, with duos, right? You have two people in Paul
Sure.
McCartney and Stevie Wonder who bring very different perspectives and very different styles to
Completely.
a song. And what happens is you mix them together and you come out with something that's so unique and original.
It dovetailed in perfectly. Imagine
Yeah,
that.
almost like you put different flavors into a tea and something new comes out of that combination, that solution that and
Yes.
I want to just mention a couple of duo albums,
Sure.
duet kind of albums that people may want to look up. Ray Charles did Genius Loves Company, and it's a whole bunch of songs where he collaborates with other artists of all ages and all races and genres, and it's really wonderful. Genius Loves Company, Ray Charles, and Tony Bennett. He's done some really wonderful albums as well, collaborating with all these various artists, Aretha Franklin, and many, many, many more. And
Even Lady Gaga.
yeah, I just encourage people to look those up because those are some wonderful collaborations too, that where great things came out of mixing different styles together, and
Yes.
different perspectives. Yeah, and they were living in perfect harmony together, weren't they, Al?
Very true. Very true.
So go on.
Well, that's all I had there, but I wanted to go to the Rose. And this is sort of unique because Amanda McBroom did the song and wrote the song in 45 minutes. That's how quick it came to her. And you know how you get inspiration. So I could relate to what you had told me by this. And she was performing it in 1977 and 1978 in clubs.
Now, Al, she was a singer-songwriter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this was a song that she wrote. I think so many people think of Bette Midler with this song, right? So it's
Right.
interesting that she was performing it first. Yeah.
And here's the segue perfectly to what happened. And it was for a film, and they were calling it For the Rose, and it wasn't written for the film. But the guy that was picking the songs, this Paul Rothschild, listened to 3,000 songs, and he picked this song out of 30 that he had drawn it down to. So when I looked at that, that's just amazing information. I can't imagine listening to 100 songs, let alone 3,000. And he did that, and Bette Midler performed the song, and it went to #1 on the Cashbox Top 100, and it peaked at #3 on the Billboard Hot 100. Plus, it was #1 on the Adult Contemporary for 5 weeks running, and it was certified a gold record. It sold so many copies then. So, and it became like Bette Midler's signature song, that she became famous for it. And Midler won the Grammy for Best Female Pop Vocal Performer over Barbra Streisand and Donna Summers back then. So
Wow, those are all great.
two
Yeah,
superstars out.
yeah, some competition there.
Yes, and there were 2 mixes. One was for an orchestra, and then the other, like the film, was piano and vocals. And that's what became popular. So that tied in with what you did, because I'm like thinking, okay, piano and vocals, Jessica Lee is back at it.
It's funny, Al, because sometimes less is more. Sometimes with certain songs, there's an intimacy that a artist can bring just with a piano or a guitar and a voice. equally beautiful, a big symphony orchestra, right, or a large band, equally beautiful, but a different type of feel, a different type of
And
sound.
I
Sometimes the more intimate brings true with a message of a song, for
I
some.
understand because in my life, sometimes when you keep it simple, that you get something that's so full of quality and substance, where an orchestra is great, but now you're singled down to one voice and one piano, and look at how it struck right at our hearts. And it's such an inspirational song for today. I hope all of you fans out there enjoyed this medley because I surely did. It was just great. And I wanted to share that, let's see, it became one of the top 83 hit songs for the AFI's 100 songs. And Conway Twitty, to share something different, he was a country singer. He hit #1 in US and Canada on the country hits with this song. So, I mean, how cool is that? Because now it's going to different genres here.
Yeah,
So,
it's a crossover classic, right? It's a standard. I mean, the people can do it in different ways. That's right.
yes. And I just wanted to put that out there as another little piece that if you keep looking at the music, you find out more little nuances and niches that are out there. So it's pretty cool.
That's right. Some of the oldest of my jazz mentors have said music is music. Yeah, one song can hit on multiple charts. If one person does it and somebody calls it rhythm and blues, somebody calls it pop, somebody calls it something else. They say those are more marketing categories in certain ways. There's some substance to why people call those, those categories, but
Sure.
music is music, and people bring their own unique voice and life story to lyrics. And so I'm always a big fan of listening to a bunch of different singers sing a song in their own way,
Sure.
telling their story through their nuance, right? Their inflections and how they
Oh,
decide to arrange the music. Yeah.
and you just presented this so well to do a medley like that. That was just very great.
Well,
Definitely.
thanks, Al. I just want to thank everybody for sending in all these great song requests. The last year, man, it's been so fascinating, Al, to have a window into people's hearts and minds as they're requesting certain songs and certain lyrics during the pandemic. So from March 11th, 2020 till March 11th, 2021, we finish a year here with this pandemic. There are brighter days ahead. So the message of the rose, hold on, keep doing what you're doing to plant the seeds for the next good year,
Yes.
and have some patience. Things are going to get better over the next couple of months. I will say, Al, that I'm booking shows now for the summer. I've started to book starting in mid-June. I think we're going to be outside a lot,
Yes.
doing some safe outdoor performances. So I am seeing things start to maybe, everybody's saying by June, July, August, we're going to be feeling a lot healthier as a country, hopefully as a world, and get back to a little bit of a new normal.
No, I can't wait. And I got my ticket for June 18th at the Swickley what is it, Sweetwater?
So Sweetwater, yeah, Swickley Sweetwater Center for the Arts, Sweetwater Center for the Arts in Swickley, PA. I'll be singing June 18th with the great guitarist Mark Strickland, and tickets are available, and they're going to do that at a home, an estate in the hillside outside Swickley Hills, and it should be just beautiful, very safe because it will be outdoors
Sure.
as far as the pandemic goes. And we're really excited. So I think that better days are coming. So Al, I know that you have continued to become healthier and healthier with your habits during the
Yes.
last year. You've been doing some things to better yourself, and I applaud you for all of those wonderful efforts during a difficult year. You're becoming better and better and healthier and stronger. And I encourage everybody, through help of mentors as well, to do that every day. We can look ahead and say we could become a little better, a little healthier tomorrow. Get the help of a mentor if you need it, for that. But just want to tell you, thank you for, your collaboration. And thank you to Dave Cable for his collaboration at BPTV's in making the By Request show possible, especially during the coronavirus pandemic days.
You're welcome very much, and I'm honored to have a kidney transplant and truly blessed by God that my son gave me a great kidney, and I had a great report from the doctor yesterday on 18 months, and he said keep doing what you're doing. So I must be doing something very well, because I never hear this from a doctor. He goes, your blood work and everything was perfect. So, that's something to shoot for. And Jess, I want to thank you for your collaboration and your inspiration doing this weekly show. It keeps me full of my positivity and builds that level up higher. It's now higher because of that. You've chased my blues away. And for all of you, keep sending these by requests either to me, Jessica Lee, and we'll continue to do each show. I hope you enjoyed this show, and we'll see you next week.